Obviously there's a lot of things that we got to continue to get better, but we're going to be a good team. And I know we're going to be a good team. It's going to take some time. There's going to be some highs and lows through it, but we're going to be a good team. We've got some things that we've got to clean up, and we will clean up. Obviously, some individual guys have to be better, but again, this is why you play these games. I felt versus St. Louis, for the most part, we were pretty good for St. Louis, and tonight we weren't real good, but Christian Brothers deserves full credit for that. I felt there were some times that we were experimenting on a couple things, and that obviously it didn't work on a couple things that we were looking at. But that's part of playing these games, is you get a chance to see some things. Everyone here knows me. I'm not a guy that plays 9-10 guys. I usually play 7 to 8, but I try to a couple times run a run, and everyone knows me. I like to keep that group that's on the run to keep them in, but I knew there was maybe a short time window where I could get some guys in to see some guys if they can do something or not, and then also left some guys in to see if they can snap out of some stuff. So there is no good news out of it other than the fact it doesn't go in the records books. We're still 0-0. I would hope, and I think the standard should be the fans should be upset, and they should be upset at me. I'll take any criticism. I get it. I don't want anyone to be happy about it. That being said, all I ask is to make sure that for Tiger Nation that we judge the team and really evaluate the team once we start getting into games starting next week. Starting the week after. Really let us see what happens in November, so that will give us a better judge in our team. That being said also that, hey, there's going to be a lot of, obviously, we're going to get criticized. I'm going to get criticized. We're going to get criticized, which deservedly so, and that's okay. And through our time here, we've had a tough loss here, a tough loss there. We've been pretty good at bouncing it back and cleaning some things up. So this is why you play the game. It gives a chance to evaluate, clean some things up, and we're going to be a much better team. There's going to be some highs and there's going to be some lows throughout the season because we are so young and so new. And but we're going to get better in the long run.
Josh, you're so young at point guard. You've only got one guard. Combo guard who has any D1 experience. Do you think that was a part of the problem tonight?
Well, part of the problem, we had, over 20 turnovers versus St. Louis. We had 21 turnovers tonight. Neither team is a pressing team, or it was just a lot unforced errors. We play with such. In my 6 years here, this is the slowest I've ever seen our team play. The slowest pace we've ever played, and I can't stand playing slow. And our pace was very, very slow, Leroy. Slowest since I've ever been here. Maybe the slowest in all my times since I've ever been a coach. And that is something that we cannot be a slow team. We can't be. We just can't, because we're so effective with Shaq and Austin. It's too easy for teams to pack it inside if we're playing slow, because look, there is a question mark with our shooting. And so for us to get the looks that we need to get, we have to play with pace, even after a made basket, to push it up, to put pressure on the defense, to get the ball reversed so we can get the ball inside. We're going to have to make a few shots. Now, we obviously missed some front ends of 1-on-1 late, missed some free throws. So, between Austin, Kedron, and Shaq, that's 13 turnovers between those three guys. That's not good. Now, Austin, this is his, he's been out for almost 3.5 weeks now. And so yesterday was his first day of contact. So he was a little out of rhythm, but he did some good things offensively. Didn't guard well, but he did some things offensively. But him and Shaq is 14 for 17. We have to play through those guys. We got to play through our 4s and 5s the entire time. The entire time we have to play through our 4s and 5s. But to be able to do that, we have to play with great pace, and we've got to be better from the guard spot. We have to be way better from the perimeter. Way, way better from the perimeter in all areas.
Coach, first, why did Karan Iverson not play tonight? And second, how much of a factor tonight was it that you guys really didn't have your full team? You had guys in and out all throughout camp.
Well, Karan Iverson, it was a coach's decision that he didn't play. So, the coach's decision will be lifted after, for moving forward. Regarding, kind of the rhythm, I just think that, we've been banged up. We've had some tough, practices and things like that. But that being said, guys just got to be better. Now, I do think that I did a poor job subbing, getting guys in, getting guys out, letting guys play through some things were probably where and anybody knows me, I got a quick hook, and I would have probably had a quicker hook in a countable game, and I would not have subbed when we were on runs. I would never have subbed if we were on runs the way we were playing. But I was trying to get guys, trying to get some looks at some different times because I knew there might not be that many times to get opportunities to evaluate guys, and I was trying to see if some guys that were playing poorly, if they could snap out of it and get through it, because I was, looking at, hey, are these guys, or is this guy going to be a guy, or that guy is going to be a guy that's going to be in our top 7, top 8. Can they get better? Can they be better than what they're playing with right now? So, look, we've had a lot of guys with, Keidron Johnson played in over, year and a half, 2 years. Pookie, same thing. Markel Crawford, same thing. So we're just a brand new team. There's going to be some highs. There's going to be some lows.
Josh, you talked about how slow you guys played, and that's with the 30-second play clock. Did you ask to have that for tonight, or how's that?
That was because the American and different teams wanted to look at evaluation from the shot clock to look at for NC2A for purposes if they want to move to the 30-second shot clock so they can use the data. Obviously, we'd probably be better off playing. We might have scored more at the 35-second shot clock. But our pace was, like I said, in my 6 years as a head coach, it was the slowest that I've ever, as a team, that I've ever had in a game, too. Slowest we've ever been. And listen, they guys were so ready to play. They were excited. There was no issues with that. It's just, I don't know if it got under the bright lights, but that's what I've said with our team, that there's a lot of absolutes, but there's a lot of gray area. And the gray area is there's a lot of unknowns when the bright lights was going to come on. Who's going to step up and get the job done? Who's going to play the certain way that they need to play? And that's why, you play the game so you can see. Anybody else? Go ahead. There's one more right there. Yep.
Coach, obviously, you guys killed them on the glass tonight, but you just never seemed to really get into the rhythm that you wanted to offensively because they packed it in on Shaq and Austin.
Well, we missed some key rebounds too. We didn't make some winning plays on the key rebounds. And the other thing is, Grant, is the reason we couldn't get it inside enough even more is because our pace. We play with such slow pace. It was very, very slow. And I don't want to play a team. I don't want our team to be slow. It drives me up the wall. But we've got to play with better pace, and we've got to be able to get the ball inside so we can do that. We're also going to have to make a couple shots just to help us loosen some things up.
Josh, could you, with Markel, Pookie, and Avery, could you kind of cover what you thought the good and bad was from each of those guys?
Yeah, I had Avery just plays so dang hard, but then he comes with 4 steals, 6 boards, but he's 2 for 8 from 3 from 11 overall. He's got to make some shots for us, but he balances out because he plays hard. Markel Crawford has 5 assists, but then he ends up having 1 for 5 from 3. Pookie can do some things. He had 3 assists, 1 turnover, but defensively he was. He struggled. He wasn't the only one, obviously. Keidron Johnson was not good whatsoever. I tried to let him play through some things to let him. Hopefully, he was going to snap out of it because he hadn't played in 2 years, and he needed. And he asked me. He said, after the St. Louis game, because he said he just felt he was way out of rhythm. So I was trying to let him play through some things so he can get his rhythm back. So we have to be definitely better at the guard spot. Definitely better at the guard spot.
How much do you think it's possible for some of those guys to, as this goes along, to be able to drive all the way or at least deeper than what we saw tonight? Well,
but part of that is, we don't have what we don't have is the blazing guard. Where we had the Joe Jackson, the Mike Dixon that could, infiltrate the defense deep into the paint. The best guy that can do that is Pookie and Demanier Cunningham. Those 2 guys with their ability to get in the paint. But You know, they obviously Damani can't play, and Pookie's got to be a little better defensively. But look, Kedron is who he is. I mean, he's a big guard. He's not a blazing guard. I mean, he's a big guard, but he's going to be better for us. There's just he's too good of a player. I mean, he was bad tonight. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. He was bad, and he's going to be better. He's just too good to not to be better. But to be able to get into the paint there, we're going to have to get into the paint, and the only way to do that is we got to play a little faster. We got to play with better pace, and we're going to have to make some shots. We're going to have to hit some shots somewhere along the way.
Josh, were you happy with the guys knowing where they needed to be? It seemed like you were doing a lot more instructing maybe than normal. You need to be here. You need to be back here.
Look, I'm doing on the base out of bounds. I'm running zone into man. We're experimenting with that. We got screwed up on that a couple times. We were doing some different things, trying to do some different things. I mean, which is probably not conducive against this type of team. And you get hurt on it. But it's kind of the balancing act. You play after St. Louis, and you see, okay, these are some holes we need to fill. Well, it's not conducive to, you're not preparing for Christian Brothers. You're preparing for Memphis in preparation for Wichita State and what you have in November. So, but that being said, we still got to win the game. I don't care what it is. We got to be better. We got to make shots. We got to make plays. We should have won the game if we made some free throws. We didn't, so Christian Brothers took advantage of it, hit some big shots, and they deserved and earned, that win.
Coach, what would you say, I guess, to the fans who are probably thinking, they lost to a Division II team tonight and have to play the number 11 team in the country? What would you say maybe to reassure them about, what's to come?
I think it's a great opportunity for us to right the ship. I've said this many times. No time has a ship been in sea and got to land, without some tough, rough waters along the way. So we're gonna have to navigate through it. We're gonna be better. Look, any criticism, deservedly so, and that's what I love about the fans. I hope they're upset. They should be upset. They should criticize me. Media should criticize me. I got no issue with that, and I got to take it right on the chest on that. That being said, I do feel that let's hold judgment on the overall team until we get playing countable games. That's all I ask is let's hold overall judgment on the overall team, and any criticism, I welcome it. I embrace it. I deserve it. Bring it to me, and I hope the fans are upset and hope they criticize. That's what makes this place so great. It's because it is their team, and they should be upset, and I don't want that to change.